Hey, what's going on, guys? This is ABC Wrestling here, and welcome to Monday Night Raw. And we kick things off with Vince McMahon in the ring, just welcoming everybody back to Monday Night Raw. We're imagining that fans are allowed back into wrestling today, and that they can just come back in. In fact, we've got 16,000 people filling Madison Square Garden tonight for the first wrestling show back. So Vince McMahon comes out and goes, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw," in his voice, which I really can't do, and pretty much welcomes the crowd to the first show, sort of hypes up some of the things which you might potentially be seeing on tonight's show. Matches which I am going to announce is Ruby Riott is looking for two partners to take on the Iconics and Natalya. We're going to be opening off with Roberto Carrillo versus Austin Theory. And we have a major 10-man tag team match. But first of all, Drew McIntyre arrives to the building in a limousine or a truck. He's Scottish, to be honest. I don't know which would better suit his character. He comes up, he has a groundswell of public support, which is a great thing to have in your champion. He gets a 68 rating, and this is just him arriving at the arena with his bags. And that pretty much a soft open transition from the Vince McMahon stuff to the first match, which is Roberto Curio versus Austin Theory, as I mentioned. This is a very young, athletic way, which is the way I wanted to start up the new era. I wanted it to represent youth and athleticism, be a strong and new direction for the company. It goes 12 minutes 40 when Austin Theory gets the win with the unproven cutter. Gets an 80 rating, which is a pretty good thing. Carrillo gets the better rating out of the two with an 80, compared to Theory's 74. If you're wondering how I'm doing this with my mouse in the top corner, that's because I was stupid. And I forgot to record sound the first time I recorded it, so I'm just quickly re-going over everything with the sound, which is why my chat is a bit confusing, because I don't fully know what to be expecting right now. After the match, Dominic comes out to save Roberto Carrillo after Seth starts pushing his eye towards the corner of the steps. He's pushing it down and just trying to get closer and closer, similar to the Rey Mysterio thing, except this time there's actually a crowd here to react to it. So it's actually doesn't seem ridiculously fake. Which is always a positive if you ask me, because some of the shit they did in that period was pretty poor. Next up, we have Charlie Caruso backstage. She's talking to Banks and Bayley. And they're going over how the women's division is so thin at the moment. There's nobody to challenge them. Nobody on Raw, nobody on SmackDown. There is not a single person who can justifiably claim they deserve a title shot. And that gets a 91 rating, which is a phenomenal rating for the first show. These two are great promos and will be the linchpins of the women's division for a while. Somebody we're going to be building up in the women's division, though, is Shayna Baszler. And she beats Catalina from NXT in under 3 minutes, when the referee stops the match. Because simply put, Shayna Baszler was going to murder her. She just stops the match, and that's that. Baszler is announced the winner. We then get our first 100 rated segment of the save, and it's in episode 1. As Drew McIntyre comes out to the ring flanked by Edge and Christian, announcing that he is going to accept Randy Orton's challenge for a WWE Championship match. All you had to do was ask. Didn't need to attack him. And he will do it for these guys who have been laid out by Orton time and time again. That brings out the Hurt Business. United States Champion MVP, 24/7 Champion Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley. They come out and pretty much challenge McIntyre to a match, mock him for being laid out by Orton, and McIntyre's retort is, hold on, haven't I laid all three of you out? Shelton, I haven't laid you out. Why don't you get in the ring right now and I'll lay you out this second. And that sets up a match between Drew McIntyre and Shelton Benjamin for right now. Guess what? 100 is phenomenal. It's a great match segment to have. A lot of people in this segment had a groundswell of public support. In fact, it was everyone except for Shelton. That's a shocker. So then we will be going into that match right now as Drew McIntyre with Edge and Christian in his corner take on Shelton Benjamin with MVP and Bobby Lashley in his. And it's Drew McIntyre who obviously gets the win. They're on WWE Champion versus the 24/7 Champion. Drew McIntyre picks up the win in 11 minutes with a Claymore getting the 1-2-3 back over before R-Truth sneaks out underneath the ring to win back the 24/7 title, pinning Shelton Benjamin and walking away with the 24/7 title. Next up again, 88 rated segment as Ruby Riott is backstage and she announces that her tag team partners for tonight's 6-man tag will be Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair. Two people she has been teaming with over the last time. It made sense. It was obviously going to be these two. I don't think there was anybody else it could have honestly, realistically been other than these two. But these are the two that we've gone for. Next up, in an attempt to try and rebuild some of the divisions underneath the card, tag team match as Two Fly take on Vink and Thorn. We will be taking MVP away from Vink and Thorn. They are not in the, or at least not in my vision, for the Hurt Business in the future. But it's to build up Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. Quite evenly scores though, which is quite shocking for that match. How Ricochet was only 7 points clear of the lowest rated person in the match, Brendan Vink. All four of these guys have great potential. Just up to us to try and utilise it. After the match, Caruso is back. And she is interviewing Drew McIntyre, talking about his match against Randy Orton at SummerSlam. When Orton comes out of nowhere and starts attacking him, and starts hitting him with chairs and whatever he can find laying around the backstage area. He's just attacking him and leaves him lying, which is supposed to make you think, oh, hold on. Nobody's left Drew lying like that before. And yet this psychotic Randy Orton has. He's left Drew McIntyre on the floor in almost a pool of his own blood. That's how brutal I want this attack to be. And we've not seen anybody do that, so it's supposed to really make you question who's actually going to win at SummerSlam. We then cut to a backstage thing where Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy chatting to the camera, and they talk about how Dominic has always been a case of he jumps in the ring, hits us with a weapon, and gets out. We're fed up on that. If you want to get in the ring with us, do it properly. We are pitching a tag team match for the main event tonight. Rollins and Murphy versus Dominic and oh no, Daddy's injured. Moving on. We get the Viking Raiders vignette. None of the goofy stuff they've been doing over the last few weeks of the Street Profits, but it's sort of a dominant Viking Raiders showing their highlights from NXT, showing the highlights from their Raw run so far, making them look very dominant, making them look like $1 million, which is the point. Next up, Jinder Mahal returns, and he defeats Riddick Moss in 5:41 with the Karachi Valley Driver, which is of course the Colossus. Gets a 78 overall match. Jinder gets a 76, Moss a 68, which puts both of them comfortably in that United States title mid-card scene, ratings-wise. And to be fair, that's not a bad place for either of them. It makes them seem like I want everybody to be at least doing something. And if Jinder Mahal's going for the US title, I don't mind. We cut to a pre-recorded promo with Ric Flair from home, where he is talking about how Drew's got to be a little bit worried with Randy. Randy Orton is psychotic at the moment. His eyes are focused. And that's not good for Drew. The last time Randy was this psychotic was 2009. Almost 11 years ago. This rage has been pent up inside him. And what was he in 2009? WWE champion. Not even Triple H could stop him. So what makes you, Drew, think that you can stop Randy Orton when he is this psychotic and crazy? Great promo. It's Ric Flair. You'd expect a great promo. He gets a 100 rating. All three guys involved in this have public support, including Ric Flair. Zelina Vega is the next person to be interviewed with, ironically, Ric Flair's potential future son-in-law. Quite funny. And she's talking about how Andrade and Angel Garza will be getting a tag team title shot next week against the Street Profits. So write that one down. It's Andrade and Angel Garza versus the Street Profits, for the tag team titles in only the second week of the save. Aren't I kind to you? Aren't I kind? And this is the lead up to the big 10-man tag, as Mustafa Ali teams with the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders to take on Mojo Rawley, Andrade Angel Garza, and the Grizzled Young Veterans who have been called up from NXT. It's a pretty good match. It's 65 for the tag division, which is slightly underneath the US title division in my opinion, as well as Ali, who is in that US title picture. The match was a little bit too long, and Ivar did get a bit injured, but it was to introduce the Grizzled Young Veterans, and Mustafa Ali picks up the win, pinning Mojo Rawley with an 0-5-4. Ivar did suffer a clavicle contusion, no one to blame though. And after the match, the Grizzled Young Veterans take Eric, and they beat him down. They lay him out, they hit their big moves on him, and James Drake locks in the Shankly gates, leaving Eric tapped out in the middle of the ring. Ivar, of course, was injured, so he was swiftly moved to the side, making it a 2-on-1 injury, which might make people think that the injuries will work. I don't know how bad it's going to be honest. But the idea with this was, we built up the Viking Raiders earlier in the show with this brilliant package showing them as dominant. And then we debuted this new team and went, they're just as dominant. Semi-main event time, Thieves. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair team up against Natalya and the Iconics. And it's pretty simple, to be honest. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair pick up the win. They're the better three performers out of the six. If I'm being honest, I like the Iconics as a comedy act. I think they need to improve in the ring. Natalya, she's great in the ring. I don't like her character. Riott, Morgan and Belair are all got potential to hit both. They're good in the ring and have decent characters. They can hit both. And we are sort of building those three up as potential people for Sasha and Bayley to face. Because, we need a tag team and singles people for them to face. And there's a trio which is made of a tag team and a singles person, if you look at it in that way. All three have great potential. To be honest, all 6 people could be top quite players in the women's division if they're used right. They just need to work on something. They're all missing that one thing which is stopping them being main event material. Which is why they're semi-main event at the moment. I'm rambling because I do not know how long. There it is. We see a clip from earlier in the show, which we didn't watch because it was midway through a match, because I don't want to do interrupted stuff. But Dominic Mysterio approaches Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens agrees to team with him. In our main event is Rollins and Murphy versus Mysterio and Owens, but Dominic. It is first official match. I know he'd have wanted it to be with his father. I know Ray would have wanted it to be with him. We're working on that though. Obviously I don't want Ray back too soon after his eye injury. You know, kayfabe and all. And Dominic picks up the win. He's the weakest performer, but we understand that. Dominic picks up the win when he pins Buddy Murphy. Former Cruiserweight Champion and former Raw Tag Team Champion Buddy Murphy. With a 619 of his own, a frog splash, homage to his father, and an homage to his fake father, Eddie Guerrero. Does anyone else remember that storyline, which is always brought up whenever Dominic's mentioned, so I don't know why I'm saying that. And overall the show gets an 83 rating, which is pretty good, to be honest, for a day 1 show. We had 2 100 rated segments on this show, which is gorgeous. It increases our popularity in 37 regions. Would have increased us more, but we need to improve our TV deals, which is one thing I do like about this game. Well, I've been Ben Chapman. That was Monday Night Raw for the second time recording this. Bye.